Jamie Felix was kidnapped and killed by her estranged husband just a year ago.
Jamie was one of the purest souls that I have ever known.
She was a beloved math teacher, recently honored as Teacher of the Year, a devoted mother of two and admired by her community. But on an ordinary Friday afternoon, everything took a dark turn. As she walked to her car with her children, her estranged husband, disguised and armed, appeared out of nowhere and forced them into a vehicle at gunpoint. What began as a family outing turned into a harrowing ride filled with fear, desperation, and violence. By the end of the night, she would be dead, and the man once closest to her would take his own life.
Shot and killed Jamie Felix in front of their 17-year-old and 10-year-old sons.
This was not a random act of violence. It was a calculated attack rooted in a history of domestic abuse and a divorce spiraling out of control. Despite court orders and a permanent injunction, he found a way to get close to her one last time. What led up to this horrifying encounter reveals a pattern of warning signs, missed chances, and a chilling email sent under duress just hours before her life was taken. Jamie Felix was born on July 14, 1978. She spent her early years in Michigan, attending high school in the small town of Ubly before continuing her education at Western Michigan University, where she earned a bachelor's degree. Her passion for learning led her into the field of education, and she eventually became a math teacher at Manatee Academy in Port St. Lucie, Florida.
It's been 1 year since the tragic death of St. Lucie County teacher Jamie Felix.
Jamie had a special gift for making mathematics accessible and engaging, even for students who initially disliked the subject. Throughout her teaching career, Jamie was recognized for her commitment and excellence. Her ability to connect with students and inspire a love for learning earned her the title of Teacher of the Year in 2023. At 45 years old, she was not only respected by her peers, but deeply admired by her students. Her classroom was known to be a space of encouragement, curiosity, and growth, an environment she nurtured with genuine care and dedication. Beyond her professional achievements, Jamie was described as a caring and selfless individual. Her warmth and joyful spirit extended beyond the classroom and into the wider community. She was known for bringing positivity and a sense of purpose to those around her.
So I was crying the whole night with her. I loved her a lot. She's an amazing teacher, and she was there for us. She wasn't like any other teacher. She was more than just a teacher.
Leaving a lasting impression on both colleagues and neighbors. Jamie's passion for education and her compassionate nature made her a beloved figure in Port St. Lucie. Jamie was married to Ray Felix, a 60-year-old man who shared her commitment to the Manatee Academy community. The couple married in August 2005 and built a life centered around family and service. Together they had 2 children, Jeremy, aged 17, and Jason, aged 10. Their family life was rooted in love and mutual support, with both parents playing active roles in their children's lives. Ray Felix also worked at Manatee Academy in several different capacities since 2019. Over the years, he served the school as a site maintenance worker, paraprofessional, dean's clerk, and behavior technician. His presence at the school, like Jamie's, reflected a deep commitment to education and community. For years, both Jamie and Ray had contributed to the well-being of students and staff, forming a strong partnership both at home and at work. Jamie and Ray eventually ended their marriage in October 2023, when Jamie filed for divorce. The decision came after years of tension and unresolved conflict between the two. Their relationship, once rooted in shared goals and community service, had become strained by ongoing domestic issues.
It's been 1 year since the death of Jamie Felix. She was a teacher in St. Lucie County, loved by her friends and her students.
Matters escalated in October 2023, when Ray was arrested following a domestic violence incident. This event marked a turning point in their relationship, as it occurred just days before Ray resigned from his position at Manatee Academy. Following Ray's arrest, a restraining order was put in place to protect Jamie and her children. A formal domestic violence injunction was also filed against Ray, underscoring the severity of the situation. These legal steps were taken as part of an effort to ensure the safety of Jamie and her sons. Despite the emotional turmoil, Jamie continued to focus on her work and family, doing her best to maintain a sense of normalcy in her household. On Friday, March 29, 2024, late in the afternoon, Jamie and her two sons were spending time together at a recreational business. It was a moment of family bonding, perhaps offering a brief escape from the difficult months that had preceded it. As they left the venue, unaware of what lay ahead, there was no indication that the day would end in anything other than a routine evening at home. Tragically, Jamie had no way of knowing the danger that awaited her outside. While walking to the family's SUV at around 4 p.m., Jamie and her sons were suddenly confronted by Ray, who appeared out of nowhere. He was somehow disguised and armed with a gun. In a shocking and terrifying moment, Ray forced Jamie and their two sons into a Nissan rental car.
Authorities say she and her two children were abducted in Port St. Lucie.
The sudden abduction left no time to react, and the family found themselves under Ray's control as he took them on a harrowing drive with no clear destination. As the four drove around, tensions rose. Ray argued with Jamie about their ongoing divorce, confronting her with anger and desperation. The atmosphere inside the car was tense and volatile, with the children witnessing the escalating conflict between their parents. After some time, Ray directed the car back to the location where their SUV had been parked, indicating that the terrifying ordeal was far from over. Upon returning, Ray escalated the situation further. At gunpoint, he forced his 17-year-old son to take the driver's seat of the rental car.
Estranged husband forced Jamie and one of the children to drive in separate cars to a hotel near Palm Beach International Airport
and instructed him to follow the SUV, where Ray held Jamie and their 10-year-old son hostage. The grim caravan drove for hours, winding through various areas and eventually reaching West Palm Beach. The drive was filled with fear, uncertainty, and emotional turmoil as the family remained trapped in a situation that was rapidly spiraling out of control. Eventually, the two vehicles stopped at a local motel in West Palm Beach. It was there that the nightmare reached its most violent point. As soon as Ray and Jamie exited the vehicle, the situation turned fatal. Without hesitation, Ray pulled out the gun and shot Jamie.
The victim, Jamie, got out of the car, and that's when the suspect got out of the car as well and shot her multiple times in the parking lot.
The sudden act of violence ended her life in front of the very children she had been trying to protect. The moment was swift, brutal, and irreversible. After shooting Jamie, Ray returned to the rental car and drove away from the scene, leaving behind devastation and heartbreak. Officers received a call about a shooting incident, prompting an immediate response to the scene. They arrived just after 7:30 p.m. and discovered a heartbreaking sight: the two boys sitting beside Jamie on the ground. Fire rescue workers quickly began life-saving efforts in an attempt to revive Jamie, but despite their best efforts, she was pronounced dead at the scene. Although the children were not physically harmed, the emotional trauma they endured was immeasurable. They had witnessed their father fatally shoot their mother, a horrifying experience that would leave lasting scars. The officers on scene ensured the boys were safely removed from the area and given immediate attention and care as the investigation began to unfold. The suspected perpetrator, Jamie Felix, was located less than a mile from the motel. As several members of law enforcement approached him, Ray took a gun and shot himself in the head. No officers fired any shots or used any force during the encounter. The incident unfolded quickly, leaving law enforcement with little time to intervene before Ray attempted to take his own life. Jamie Felix was immediately rushed to St. Mary's Medical Center for emergency treatment. He underwent surgery in an attempt to save his life, but the injuries were too severe. Approximately 3 hours later, Jamie Felix died from the self-inflicted gunshot wound. His actions brought a tragic and violent end to a story already filled with years of tension, conflict, and heartache. With both parents now deceased, authorities turned their attention to understanding what had led to such a devastating outcome. Police launched a full investigation into the circumstances surrounding the fatal shooting. Their focus was not only to uncover the timeline of events leading to Jamie's slaying, but also to provide clarity and justice for the two surviving children left in the wake of the tragedy. As the investigation progressed, police uncovered more information that painted a clearer picture of the events leading up to the tragedy.
Seen in this video here following her just moments before in this surveillance video. It's been released by police in that area.
According to court records, Ray Felix had previously been charged with battery following a domestic violence incident at the family's home in Port St. Lucie in October 2023. In response to that incident, a family court judge overseeing the divorce case issued a no-contact order, legally prohibiting Ray from communicating with Jamie or their youngest child. The fatal shooting occurred just days before Ray was scheduled to appear in court on Monday, April 1st, to face charges of felony battery stemming from that earlier assault. During the ongoing investigation, police received a crucial tip from one of Jamie's co-workers. On March 29, 2023, the colleague contacted authorities after receiving an email from Jamie that seemed highly uncharacteristic. The call was made around 6:23 p.m., and officers immediately began to take action. Investigators later revealed that the contents of the email suggested Jamie was recanting her previous statements about the domestic violence incident. However, police believed this message had likely been sent under duress and credited the co-worker for recognizing something was wrong and alerting them. A police officer involved in the case reported that Ray had a permanent domestic violence injunction in place against him. After the concerning email, officers attempted to contact Jamie but were unsuccessful. In response, they began actively searching for her, visiting both her residence and the suspect's home, and scanning for vehicles that matched descriptions provided. Unfortunately, despite their efforts, no direct contact was made with Jamie before the tragic events unfolded. Investigators later confirmed that around 4 p.m. on March 29, 2024, Jamie and her children were leaving Urban Air Adventure Park, located in Port St. Lucie, when Ray appeared and forced them into a vehicle at gunpoint. The family was then driven around various locations in St. Lucie County. Eventually, they returned to Urban Air to retrieve Jamie's vehicle. According to law enforcement, both vehicles then headed south toward West Palm Beach. Around this time, the troubling email was sent, prompting the co-worker's alert that led police to respond. Law enforcement officials noted that it took approximately 70 minutes from the time their agency was contacted to when they learned about the events that had transpired in West Palm Beach. One officer stated that Ray Felix was believed to be a former law enforcement officer, although that detail had not been confirmed. He emphasized the importance of community vigilance, stating, "This is a good example of see something, say something." He also noted the dangerous nature of domestic violence situations, calling them very volatile, and highlighting the tragic consequences that can occur when warning signs are missed or ignored. Jamie Felix's life was brutally cut short, leaving behind 2 young sons who witnessed the unimaginable, their mother taken from them in an instant by their own father. No amount of justice or explanation can erase the trauma they now carry. Her colleagues, students, and community mourn the loss of a passionate educator who inspired so many. Those closest to Jamie are left grieving not only her loss, but the heartbreak of knowing how much she endured.
Jamie was one of the purest souls that I have ever known and the most humble person. You know, she was a great friend.
Her loved ones now face a long road to healing, holding on to her memory as they fight to protect others from suffering the same fate. What are your thoughts about this tragic case? Please share your thoughts in the comments below and give this video a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel and like this kind of content, please subscribe for upcoming episodes. Your support is greatly appreciated. Until next time, I will see you on Urban Crime Stories.